No, it's not gonna crash, and here's why. We've been living through one of the most anxious times in Canadian housing history. From the roller coaster rides of COVID to the current predicament we find ourselves now. Should I buy in 2024? That's been on everyone's mind lately. And if you've been asking yourself that same question, then you've come to the right place. In this video, I'll have an overarching look at three key topics regarding the Canadian housing market and how they will transpire through the next year. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Now, before we jump in and look into the future, I'd like to take a minute and study the past and ask ourselves this question: how on earth did we get here? Now, looking at the last 2 to 3 years, we saw a peak in the housing market during COVID, caused by a perfect storm. From low cost of borrowing and dropping interest rates, you can get an interest rate as low as 1.4% based on which lenders you went with. Along with shifting consumer demand, COVID delays, and billions being pumped in the market with a whole host of other factors, the market went crazy, to a point where we saw buyers bid hundreds of thousands of dollars over asking with little to no conditions. We also saw cases of people camp outside builders' offices to lineups around the block when it comes to showings. In fact, the market was so crazy that we had multiple offers on pretty much every listing on the market. This inevitably spiked the inflation rate, where the government had to step in and start raising their interest rate beginning of March 2022, full 2 years after they had initially dropped. Which brings us to the cool down period we see ourselves in and ask ourselves, why did the price drop and will it crash? Ever since March 2022, the government has been on a crusade against the rising inflation and the rising cost of living. And they fought with the only tool they had in their toolbox: interest rates. Aggressive rate hikes from 25 to 100 basis points every few months, we saw interest rates climb from 1.4% in the summer of 2020 to 7% in the summer of 2023. Along with COVID recovery, easing delays, and multiple rate hikes over the course of a year, sent a wave of panic among consumers and slowed the market down significantly. But surprisingly, the market did not crash. It did slow the market down by say 10 to 15% over the course of 2022 and 2023. This brings us to the current scenario where we find ourselves asking the hard question: should I buy in 2024? To answer that question, we'll have to look at three key elements which will shape the market in the coming year. Chief among them would be interest rates. The recent Bank of Canada announcement doesn't bring any hope when it comes to buying a house anytime soon, but according to Benjamin Tal, the chief economist at CIBC, predicts that the Bank of Canada should start reducing rates mid-2024. Now, the hope is to start dropping the rates by 25 to 50 basis points to reach a target of 2.7 to 3% by summer of 2025. Once that starts, we will see a shift in the market. Around the fall 2024 mark, first-time buyers and people who've been waiting on the sidelines to buy a house will start jumping into the market, causing the prices to start creeping up slowly. How fast the prices will climb will depend on the next topic: immigration and demand. This topic needs no introduction, as it's been on everyone's mind lately. Immigration has been one of the key driving factors of growth in Canada, but is the market prepared when it comes to sustaining the growth, is the key question we should be asking. The government has welcomed 465,000 permanent residents in the year 2023, and it plans to welcome another 1.5 million in the next 3 years. Along with foreign students, refugees, and foreign workers, this will inevitably drive up the demand when it comes to housing, and there is no doubt that the prices will get pushed up in the coming years. Now, at some point, you have to wonder, how fast will the price fluctuate? Well, to answer that question, we'll have to look at the next topic, which is supply. Now, supply, we all heard this before. We don't have any. The government's inadequate response when it comes to keeping with the growing demands during COVID led the prices to climb. Now, take for example in Ottawa, the current inventory stands at 3 months going into 4 for the winter, despite the interest rates being high. You can only imagine what the prices will be when the demand grows in the next coming years. Now, according to one of the studies, Canada would need around 5 to 6 million homes by the year 2030 just to keep up with the current demand. Now, we've seen government promises in the past when it comes to tackling supply problems, from low-income houses to foreign buyers ban, but they've done little to nothing when it comes to plugging the gap. We can only hope that the construction industry steps in and starts ramping up production. If not, we are going to see the prices creep up again to a point where it'll be higher than COVID in a couple of years. Now, circling back to the question we asked ourselves in the beginning, should I buy in 2024? We've seen the three key aspects of how the market's going to behave in the next year. Now, I would argue that the houses are on sale at the moment, from lowering interest rates to raising demands and supply constraints. I would ask that you make the best decision for yourselves, as everyone's circumstances do change. And if you're ever thinking about buying or selling in the Ottawa region, feel free to reach out in the description down below to book an appointment with me. I hope this video was helpful, and let me know what your predictions are for the year 2024, as I'm always curious as to what people are thinking. And I'll see you in the next one.